Okay. Alright. Alrighty then. Let's get to it. Beginning case like case 1-2, or I mean second part of the first case. Anyway, let's go. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb. My heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there, you were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it, it's terrifying! If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Yeah. Miss Giselle Brett. A student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I am sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our general detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself, then on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor. And just after I bent down and picked it up, I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me in some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Professor Migatopa. Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy, our justice system even more so, which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I want to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert... who can't help... If I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What? What are you saying, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma, well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes, you need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA, and it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I've no doubt that your new pair will put up a good fight, right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you. Now then, I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-san. Sama. Defend Naruhodo! Court recess is over! Let's make your way inside the courtroom at once! It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow. Before those old fossils know what hit them. Kazuma? What? Thank you. Really. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed in me, then I'm fairly sure that I've already been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my own anymore. Whoever we're up against, we can't absolutely afford to lose. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria at University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. Alright. Alright. Looks like we have a guest in the Kokong, so let's bring him in. Hello.
Hello.
Just give me a sec. I'll actually share my screen so you won't get a delay.
Oh, thanks.
Give me source projection and that should be it. Yep. All right. So we're just beginning the second part of the trial. So.
Right. And so far, what I understand is that you're implicated in the murder of someone for some reason or another.
The Professor John H. Wilson, who and it's also a very important case because well, this is just the turn of the century. So and their treaty with Britain is very new. So a murder of this kind wants to be reported on as soon as possible and taken care of.
Yeah.
Anyway, the court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Aochi, have you managed to subpoena the witness?
Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecutor is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government.
Sorry. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about.
I love the names in the Ace Attorney series. And
Yeah,
I love that.
I
love that.
I'm so glad that they actually kept up with that. I was afraid they were just gonna just translate the everything just verbatim, but instead they actually went to the effort of keeping up the puns.
And I love that Winston Payne's ancestor is named Ouchie.
Yep. They do not. They also, I mean, if you want, you can if you want to voice someone, just let me know. I can
Well, sure.
It's highly unlikely that the good relations we forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty brings down our nation's founders?
Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile that the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on, you really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke.
What do you mean?
A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England?
Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy! You and your friend know nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with a great world power, we will become strong. Diplomacy has never become more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures.
The eyes, like, of Ryunosuke is just glorious. They clearly capture his, like, his greenness. Like, I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student, and one who will arguably study harder too. But standing here now in our courtroom, Supreme Court, there is one thing I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Well said, Ryunosuke. Despite the wide-eyed look of terror.
You little brats!
Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system, and exists solely for the pursuance of the truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Josiah Brett.
Yes. You're not sissy! Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land!
Tea! Someone bring English tea! In England, no discussion takes place without tea! Is that true? No idea.
So, ahem! Could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court?
Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I have been working undercover as the head waiter at a carnival.
Yes, we know about you already!
Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first. Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of. Oh, yes, I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty.
So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please.
She's speaking posh.
Posh English. There we go.
Super posh English, and I can't even read it. Like,
I'm
tea,
usually good with cursive.
tea, crumpets, I don't know. I don't know this.
I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but what?
I think in the Japanese versions it was actually English. Like,
That would make sense.
or it could have actually literally been this. The lady says her name is Josiah Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student, currently enrolled in Yume University's medical faculty.
Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song.
As far as I could tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. You'll obviously do fine in England, Cosmo. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Ryunosuke. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking a stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called Le Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct? By the way, Dr. Wilson was originally Dr. Watson.
Oh.
Like a few key names had to be changed around in order for this to be. And you might be familiar with the most famous, like
Sherlock Holmes.
Yup. beautiful.
Absolutely glorious.
Yep.
And a little bit of trivia about Sherlock Holmes specifically is that I believe the person's name was LeBlanc, the person who originally wrote the Arsène novels,
Mhm.
actually used Sherlock Holmes himself
Mhm.
without Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's permission,
Yeah.
and he got into trouble about that. So the way he solved that was Sherlock Holmes. So he's the original person who did that.
That's really cool. Like that's quite a way to like. It's like a way of paying homage and avoiding um uh lawsuits or copyright stuff.
Very.
Even though Sherlock Holmes, I believe, is technically still in the is technically in the public domain. It's just certain applications. I believe it's very messy. That's
Yeah,
all it really is.
I can assume the law is always very messy.
Yeah. Like I know that he's technically in the public domain, but there are technicalities. Like, anyway, is that correct?
There are always for the rules.
There's a lot of eyes, it looks like. She says yes. The problem with the cursive is that it's not like directly cursive. It's just like you could see like a few of the like capital letters, but the rest of it is just lines. Just
Yeah, it's doctor script.
Yeah. This could take some time. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese. She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that we were due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting. When you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the Bureau.
Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps?
Apparently, it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say... Yes, it would appear that the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood. Well, that's not good. Order in the court.
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have absolute conclusive witness statement!
Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify if you please. Especially since in the flashbacks she was sitting right across from him, which would be close enough to cause that burn. But
Most certainly.
But we still have to figure this out. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. Honestly, an interesting spin on the fact that it's obvious who the culprit is, but doesn't obviously show it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, we know it's her, but we have to figure out how to prove it.
Yeah. We know who, just gotta prove.
Oh boy. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I'm beginning to wonder if she even has eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. But there were two guns at the scene, one on the floor and one that shot him, so...
Yes!
Oh. No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all.
Objection!
Quite you filthy wretch. By the way, Rinosuke says yes a lot because in the Japanese version he would actually yell "hi," like, which is Japanese for yes. So even because it's mean, it kind of makes sense for it. Like, even though it probably makes more sense for him to say things like "hold it" and "objection" and all that, he just says yes. Like, I believe it's only for this part because it's because of his student situation. Like,
Mhm.
because he's a student and he has to speak up to his like superiors. Like,
Quiet, you filthy wretch! Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard! And look at this snow-white angel! I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe.
you're still making the same mistakes, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. But he's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the two witnesses who testified before, and reported back to the bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last two witnesses were completely worthless. However, well, even so, on the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there is nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm. I'm not even gonna touch that. I think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. Like, yeah, unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden the weapon can be shown, this is moot. I mean, it could be a thigh holster. Who knows? Like, there are no pockets in my outfit, so I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness's own words on the matter. That's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it. Ah, jeez! Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryunosuke. I did finally get a big deal about missing another gun there that day. You're right about that, which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart.
This game looks so good.
Defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. I arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. Okay, at least we don't have to press her parts, just the translated parts. Like, after 2 p.m. in fact. That's quite late for quite a late lunch, isn't it?
Objection! You don't keep up with the latest fashions from Britain, do you? Late lunches are on vogue, isn't that right?
Well, that's clear. No.
No.
A decisive English no has quite a sting to it. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems. So it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, which we could prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier. We proved that she was the only one eating because Wilson had a dentist, had a dentist appointment that day and was forbidden from eating for 2 hours.
Ooh.
So, very pretty sneaky. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why it was so late. Yes, that all makes perfect sense.
Such wonderful logic. What a shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is.
So that you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? Oh, I actually got my card, my strikes back.
Me.
The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered myself a beef steak. Oh, meant to go back.
Sorry.
No problem.
Yes!
He was unable to eat, you say. That does line up. And was that because he had just had a tooth removed at the Hada Clinic, correct? Hada Clinic.
Hada?
Yes, Hada Clinic.
The Hada Clinic?
Yep.
Oh no.
Yep. 100 years before the Hadi Clinic. Or the Hadi something like that. That's right. You're actually supposed to check with the witness before answering. And also Hada also works with Japanese pronunciation of like certain of English words that added a second syllable to one syllable words sometimes, like ha ta. Like, yeah. Was Miss Brett aware of the fact? It seems so. Yes, she heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett? Good thing this isn't like 1980s fiction where we find a contradiction in that women don't eat steak. Like that's I was so sure they might have actually gone there at some point because you know, century ago time period I guess. Anyway, that's right. Yes, the print you have there shows the table exactly as was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left, aside from turning the victim around.
And dear me, what a harrowing experience! To have traveled to a distant island on the far side of the world to be embroiled in such a tragic incident! Have no fear, my dear lady, I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight!
So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all. That's right, other than some carbonated water. Just water. Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. They each raised a glass of carbonated water. What do you think, Ryunosuke, about the witness's last statement? Very meaningful. Like just a slap sound.
Animated.
The last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case.
Well, well, how fascinating! Do tell us, what's this profound bearing,
The significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony.
Well, sidestep counsel.
Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she says. That was brilliant, Cosmo. I'm gonna remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I'd hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Ryunosuke. Like, don't pick up the gun! Like, don't, like, I mean, sure, he picked up the gun before the shot, but don't pick up the gun! Like, especially with bare hands.
Or if you do pick up the gun, make sure that it's a very safe, careful way away from the possible body.
Right. Like he just thought Wilson dropped it. So it's like, oh, is this your gun? Oh, by the way, you're dead. Oh, frick. I ordered beef steak and professor and said cheers over a glass of carbonated water. This is probably gonna be the one, but I'm gonna press. Yes! I like to press everything.
Yeah.
So both you and the professor.
Wheel of phone, nice attorney.
Yeah. So both you and the professor drank this carbonated water, did you? Yes. Being the waiter, I poured the 2 glasses myself. I clearly remember doing so. Except you're actually a detective. And the beef steak, that was for you, Miss Brett. The lady says she heard it was not customary to eat beef here until Japan opened its doors to the world. Yes, that's true. What a frightful place, is the lady's opinion. And I've heard it's not customary to eat sashimi in Great Britain. Now that's frightful! Every country has its own cuisine. As long as people have food to eat, what does it matter what it is? Well, as long as it's not poisoned. Like, food poisoning. Like the first time I tried carbonated water, it was much more of a shock than the first time I tried beef. But anyway, back to this witness's statement. Somehow, I feel like there's something out of place in what she's saying. Yeah.
Face.
Yeah, it's a little odd. Just like, And the
love
fact
that
that he's just
so
he's just
animated.
holding it there is the best part. Like, that's probably one of the best parts of Ace Attorney. Is just the fact that they keep the same pose for a while. We need to pounce on even the slightest thing now, because you never know what might lead to our goal. I mean, I say Ace Attorney, but that's actually a visual novel kind of thing where everyone just keeps the same pose when they're not talking.
Yeah.
Like our goal of turning this trial around. Understood, Kazuma. All right, got 3 more statements to do. Like, after a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument.
Yes!
I never got into an argument with the professor. All I did when I noticed him was go over to say hello. Please, don't get angry with me. No, I wasn't directly retorted at you. I was meant for the lady next to you. But anyway, as I said, I did not argue with the professor. I'm afraid your words are in vain. Sorry? Miss Brett does not appear to speak Japanese.
No, of course not! Japanese is such a cumbersome language anyway. English is the future! We must all English!
Oh my gosh! That is beautiful! They had to really figure out how to get that across. That is incredible.
That is amazing.
They had to do a lot of work for this, clearly. For this. Like, I wonder if the prosecution will feel that way forever, or only in the presence of a beautiful woman. Well, that beautiful woman is telling blatant lies with a completely straight face. I had to find something that will unravel her testimony, no matter how seemingly insignificant it could be. Anyway, it seems that after the argument, the accused briefly returned to his own seat. That part ties in with what you said, doesn't it? Yes, I still had some coffee to drink. And the next time you got up after that was when I'd finished my coffee and stood up to leave. She's smirking again. Then not long afterward, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. Oy vey.
Yes! Like I said, I did not shoot that gun!
And like I said, there's no point repeating that assertion over and over! Well, I wasn't expected to be attacked by my own side.
Nevertheless, defendant, you can't deny that when the shot rang out in the restaurant, you had a gun in your hand!
Well, yes, that's true, but... Well, all I did was pick up the gun I saw on the floor next to the professor, all as I was leaving the restaurant. In fact, yes! There was someone much closer to the victim than me at the time. The highly suspicious...
That will do, you dirty, rotten scoundrel!
Dirty?
Your baseless accusations could very well cause an international incident, boy!
It seems to me that your accusation is just as baseless as ours.
What nonsense!
The lady's merely stating what she saw. And this is already an international incident as far as I'm concerned, anyway.
I just had an idea, and I don't know if I want to say it or not, if it's right.
We'll see. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit.
Yes!
Yeah. It's all very well saying that, but can you prove it? She doesn't need to prove it. Absolutely, or anyway, she did it anyway. And absolutely, I verified it personally. You verified it? Yes. Immediately after the incident, I checked to make sure the lady was not carrying a weapon. I distinctly remember her saying, "I'm not." Seriously? That's all you did? You just asked her? Surely you carried out a physical search, Inspector. No.
Why on earth not? The honorable English gentlewoman clearly stated that she did not possess a weapon. There was obviously no need for further probing into the matter.
Or there was no permission given for any further probing into the matter, perhaps.
Think what you will, but if you're going to continue with this preposterous claim that the refined lady was concealing a firearm, the prosecution demands that you support your assertion with facts.
In other words, he wants evidence. The lady wishes to point out, of course, she wanted to stay and assist with the investigation, but she was in a hurry to give a presentation at the university, so she was compelled to leave. Not to mention the fact that your office had told you to get the woman out of there. Not get her out of there. I just urged her to leave. The lady would like to point out that she had no way went to run away from the scene of the crime, which is why she is only too happy to cooperate and testify here in court today, of course.
Unlike a certain student who refuses to admit when the game is up. You could at least have the courtesy to pay attention when I'm goading you.
So she's maintaining that you got into an argument with the professor at the end of which you shot him, which is an out and out, totally unfounded lie. I mean, what would they even have to argue about? Like,
Yeah.
that's my question.
For it to escalate to that seems like a very outrageous claim.
I mean, the closest thing I could think of, is something like how to speak a word in Japanese. But even then, it's generally, I'm not sure how it was a century ago, but generally they're more likely to just politely tell you, and it's more polite, it's generally more culturally acceptable just be polite and not or something like that. Whatever. I may usually the main reaction is just to start speaking English anyway. We need to know that the person's English. Anyway, still her statement is very compelling. After all, she's an elegant, refined, young, and beautiful gentlewoman from Great Britain. In stark contrast to you, dressed from head to toe in dull black school uniform. I'm dressed exactly the same as you are, except for the flapping red ribbons, which I still have no idea how you're, where the wind is coming from.
Wait.
Yeah, that thing has always been waving everywhere. Well, anyway, this is our only chance to expose her testimony as the fiction that it is. The only explanation, if this was the 21st century, was that there's a fan, but this is the turn of the century, the 1900s. If we can't do that, the trial's over. Even with your thick skin, must be able to feel the murderous looks you're getting from around the room. Only too well, I feel half dead already. And the fact I can't see a single inconsistency as her testimony isn't making me feel any better either. The first thing to do is press her on any statements that seem even slightly off to you. Do that, and an opening will present itself, I promise you. I need to expose the true face of this exotic foreigner that's hiding behind the mask. That's what I should be aiming for in this cross-examination. Okay. So, I mean, we could pretty much already tell that it's probably this one. So, let's see, what do we got? Okay, proof that I'm a student. Death, after 2 p.m., caused by loss of blood loss from gunshot. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body, and it clearly came from the front. He was shot from the front in the chest and subsequently died. Waiter's business card, the sketch of the restaurant's layout is on the back. On the front, stated Hasanaga-san as a police inspector. A bottle of carbonated water and a steak lunch could be seen on the victim's table.
On the victim's table?
There's only one glass.
Yeah. So put it on where they both. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes!
Unless you're saying he pulled a Thor and just threw the glass down. Another! That's it! Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Or you're saying he just drank from the bottle? Or, just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene, or that they shared a glass, but that would be very scandalous. That it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Well, it's odd! Very odd!
Dear me, what is this defense's inability to express itself?
Ryunosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you? Well, obviously, it's the cheers!
The cheers?
Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. Ah, you're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here.
Objection! Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over
Minutia?
minutia? Oh my gosh.
over minutia? What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make on the case?
Objection!
Minutia, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence?
Yes, could it be that the detective did indeed do this?
Yeah, I'm glad you caught that. Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try to tell me you can clink with only 1? You are quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. What the frick? Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table. What? It was all so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she's saying. Good gracious! Uh-huh. Sorry. Sorry.
It's a little creepy how the mask that she has like Spider-Man effect eyes where they can grow and drink.
Yeah, that is... Like,
There! As I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all.
where's the glass now?
Oh, please. We must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or 2 in her state of disarray?
But where could she keep it?
That's absurd. Oh, really?
Probably in the same place the gun was.
So do we take it that you're now going to accuse this vulnerable young and beautiful woman of mischief?
What? No, this can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. It would seem that she slipped it into a small handbag she was carrying.
And that's where the gun was.
Yeah, she done goofed. A handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellency. A small handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England.
So the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now.
And if this was like modern, if this was a modern world, I would immediately say check where's the bag now, and check that for nitrate, do a nitrate test on the handbag or something like that. Because there might be something left over from after the gun was fired. So the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end it comes down to nothing. No more pretentious accusations. You've wasted enough time already. Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed this glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case.
Objection!
Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement?
Objection!
Well, I don't know.
Objection!
Really. If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show it has deeper significance. Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag. If there's a deeper significance there, it's the handbag.
Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say? Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items.
Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag. in which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right. Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that too.
What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard?
It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire the gun, we can deduce that there must be another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will.
You can't seriously be suggesting.
Inspector Hasanaga. Yes? Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? No, sir. I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag. Well, where's his handbag now?
Rabble.
Order. What?
What's the meaning of this, Inspector?
The meaning of what, Prosecutor Ouchie?
Why not did you not have this lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations.
Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you think so, Tazma? oh boy, it's getting more violent.
Oh yeah, it does that.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah,
Apparently that's very normal for him. What a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting, simply because it was unnecessary. Unnecessary in what way? I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print. That's definitely... Oh! This print of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. Oh. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Well, I never. As you can see, and you can see right through to what's inside. Oh boy, that's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. Yes, showing exactly what's in your bag so people can know what you have.
Second pouch, maybe?
Probably. So the contents are clearly visible. I definitely would still want to search the pouch. Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping prove that, Naruhodo-san. Bonk. Frick. Order. Inspector Hasanaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once. Certainly, Your Excellency. Oh boy.
Could you open that when you get the chance for me? Because there's something I noticed I need to get a better look at.
Okay. Court record.
What's that mark on the back of his hand?
That is a good question. Looks like a cow skull. But I can't identify it now. It's probably gonna pop up later.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be something.
But that is good to notice. I think you have had long enough to cross-examine the witness, counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence, as the photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance. I am satisfied that there are no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling.
Indeed, and there's only one logical conclusion. The pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator for his crime.
No, just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around, I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Oh, Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Once the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it?
I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student. But the weak are meat, while the strong eats. You are wasting your time. There is no way to defeat true justice. In fact, you could chew on your heart's chew on to your heart's the effect you could chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell. This can't be happening. I'm really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit. And Kazuma, his dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma, what? Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest, which means there's no basis on which we can argue for this trial to continue. I'm surprised you didn't think of the other thing. Oh, well, whatever. Very well. I will now proceed to ruling. It seems we'll be able to report to the British government on time after all. That smug little... Ryunosuke Naruhodo, having considered all the evidence placed before me, I hereby find you...
Yes!
Yes. Wait, Your Excellency. Ryunosuke. I don't think you can rule on this case yet.
Objection!
This amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That's the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Yes!
Your Excellency, just a moment ago, you said this. As a photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there's no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. But now, this means that if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail, I mean, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
Objection!
That is blatant straw clutching. Look at the photographic print. All it shows is the handbag this gentlewoman was carrying on the day in question. There'd be no problem with this evidence. You better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. I understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from his handbag. My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes. Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. Very well, I will grant the defense one final opportunity. What? But be warned that if I'm unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. We will identify to the court for the print. Okay. Let's try it.
Yes!
Gotta be.
Yep, look at this, here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description. Aha!
Objection!
Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come up with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly that's nothing whatsoever to do with the victim's lady's handbag. It's a very hot bag. Yes, that is a burn mark, you're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report. What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea what the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either.
Had to have been recently, because it doesn't look like it's scarred over.
Yeah, the more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of its mark. However, as Prosecutor Auchi points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. She's gonna try to get out of there, isn't she? Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Red has a lunch appointment with a dean and under university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from stand now. Oh, of course, dear lady. We can't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure it's excluded about it, but they have his final ruling anyway. What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn
this burn does have something to do with this case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging, in the hope that I might uncover something useful. Yes, you're right. I am? If we could just link that burn to the case, if we do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open again.
Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Indeed, I'm afraid without evidence, I cannot allow you to pursue what is a little more than conjecture. But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist of the case, then would you allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between the burn and the case. Yeah. The fact that she reacted to it is a clue to tell. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what the burn really means. Okay, so then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the burn and this. Well, I don't think it's a pen. Like a pen. Well, what if I? Wait a minute. Wait, no. Unless it's actually a button. But no, that wouldn't. The steak plate.
Yes.
There it is.
Okay.
Yes!
What's this, Counsel? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore.
Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further, well, would be quite inexcusable.
Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean.
What is in
this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burns? Right there.
Yes!
The beefsteak?
Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plate? Ah!
Your Excellency, are you alright?
As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of La Carnival. This emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn are exactly the same shape.
Ah!
Ryunosuke, you genius! You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant. Oh boy.
Objection!
But even if that's the case, you can't know if that happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before or the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time.
Well,
Objection!
Thanks, Kazuma. Sadly, Prosecutor Ouchi, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks.
Why?
The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hasanaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But...
I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And though it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. I'm curious where they're going with this, but it's interesting. Hey, can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's
How did
see.
the plate get that hot, for instance?
If the plate was around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain. Did that happen after he was shot?
After he died.
I've been investigating it at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard of anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation. But you're a detective, not a waiter! Apparently he's a really good waiter. There you have it. Something right isn't here. Is it right? There. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. Their reflexes would most likely immediately.
Yeah, like unless you're willingly burning yourself, there's no way you would be able to sustain it.
Like
for
you're
that
not
long.
your body will reacts faster, way faster than your brain will even detect, or before you even feel that burn, or before your brain can acknowledge it, or something like that. There's no question of that. And yet Inspector Hasanaga never heard the professor scream, not on that day or any before it. That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day, that would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. Then the rest of us are in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antique dealer, all of us would without question have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Professor Ouchie? Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Ryanosuke, do you think... Can it really be true? I never dreamt we would arrive at this conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already deceased. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible, apart from one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting... Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead. Already dead? Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness! Order, please. Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Ouchie, it is you who has no grasp of the facts. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brent knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate the twist of events. Sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon
really good
engagement.
first case.
Yeah, a lot of the first cases have been very strong, but this is up there.
Yeah.
Like Investigations 2 probably has the strongest first case, but if you count the investigation games, they've definitely been upping their game ever since the original trilogy.
Yeah, the investigation games are still Ace Attorney games, even though it's Miles instead of
and
Phoenix.
And they're more detective games, but still.
Yeah.
Your Excellency,
Ah, the justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. Oh boy. What's that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours.
Okay, now she's speaking Japanese.
Yup. Miss Brett, you speak Japanese?
Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country after all.
But then, why haven't you speaking through an interpreter until now?
My mother tongue,
The Queen's English
is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible.
This is another reason why
I-
people were thinking that this game would not be released, because of stuff like this. That there's like legit Japanophobia, like being spoken, like or or actual like things that could be really offensive if in the wrong
Yeah.
hands. Despite this being made by a Japanese company, so they're like yelling at themselves. So
Yeah, if
If
it were
there's-
an
there's-
English company, that
yeah,
if
they
it
would.
were an English. Sorry, go ahead.
That would not get like that would be. Yeah, basic like yeah. It would, ooh-wee. I mean, historic racism, as I believe it's what's called. Is it
Yeah.
like?
If it were an English company that put in a character with a line like that, there would be a whole lot more controversy since this is
Yeah.
a Japanese game and a
You'd have to be really careful with that.
yeah.
Have to be like really careful with historical writing and all stuff like that.
but it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I could see that I have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level.
You're the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you graciously afford us.
I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson.
The judge is having none of this.
So we're finally about to hear her own words of the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. Oh boy.
This is good.
Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way the man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please, do show me. But of course...
Poison in the glass.
Yep. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
Can't wait to press that.
That most captivating and
that's
beautiful
why
testimony
she
will
took
go
the
down in the
glass.
supreme...
She took the glass so it couldn't be examined for any poison.
Aha! Most captivating and
So it's
beautiful
not her
testimonies.
glass, it's his glass.
Mhm.
She swapped it around.
Yeah. Will go down in the Supreme Court's history, thank you. Easy does it. I hope this is the last time I'll have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone.
Not at all, not at all. It's a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. The fact she's saying this in front of like military and government officials in this trial room is pretty gutsy of her.
Very, very much so a faux pas.
Yeah, like this is a private court, so there's only so this is not open to the public, so there's only very higher ups. So yeah, I don't think she would even be
Yeah.
allowed to be in the country even if she did get away with this. Or there might be some controversy at the very least. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of our victim's burn is utterly irrelevant.
I'll be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what happened here today.
The Minister of Justice?
May that irritating lily bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible.
Amen. Uh, um, thanks? Was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, Counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination. Like that's part of the reason why I kind of prefer the models over the sprites, is that you're getting both the benefits of the sprites even with the models, and you're getting more movement or more complicated movement like that.
Yeah. It even looked like he was able to squish his face in a little bit.
Yeah. Anyway, if that means I can't press any of all these statements or something like that, then I'm just gonna save real quick just in case. Just in case this is like an automatic lose if I press the wrong statement or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes!
That is a thing in later cases. I doubt it would be done this early. Unless it's
yeah.
expressly said.
Yeah.
Explicitly said.
With the green text and all that. But just in case. But his hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't have not noticed. Do you think so? Let me ask you something. Sorry? Ever since I arrived at this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours have been wide open. Seriously? You can't have not noticed, can you? Huh? What? Ah! That's accurate. What fun! You hadn't realized? Dear Lily's absolutely right! As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing? Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can. What a suck up! Well, I can't. Anyway, when the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in toast.
Yes!
As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right? Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at the time, if you remember, which explains why he ordered that drink, correct, waiter? Exactly as you say, sir. Although, whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that. Damn you. I have enough English to understand that one, at least. For the benefit of the court, it means, bless you! No. I think it means the exact opposite. Anyway... My accent's probably a bit more French than British, but... As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides that's... frick. I meant to press that one. Anyway,
Yes!
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma. Yes. Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist is going to kill us. And there are no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death. It could only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life. But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away, when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it would have been able to make a burn like that. So literally, as soon as he got, if the victim burned his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out of the kitchen, then he must have already been dead at that point.
Objection!
And yet, the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Until you're able to show the court evidence to prove that, this is a complete waste of time! I concur. Prosecutor Ouchie is right. if there's some other way for a man's life to be taken without leaving a trace, please show me. Well, let's see.
Yes!
Without leaving a trace. If someone is shot or strangled or stabbed or thrown from a height, I know the word for that, but I don't know it. I can't think of it right now. Defenestrated. That literally means being thrown off a building or something, or out of the window or something like that. I don't know. However, a
Maybe there was
person's
an
life is
actual
taken.
word for that.
There are always telltale traces on the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hasanaga? As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There would be physical traces with all of those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Oh no, perish the thought calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. On my honor, I, Takatsuchi Ouchi, will cut down any who dare cast such aspersions. A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back it up here. Yes, evidence. But of course, this country's inferior investigation. Yeah, let's take a look.
Yes!
I want to see how the inferior.
Let's see
What do you mean by that?
is.
In the lands of Great British Empire, the police store everything found at the crime scene for a later examination. But in this country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right! La Cadaver is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident! Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. It doesn't even occur to your name. I can't switch to him, but it doesn't even occur to your native detectives to try and preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can. You understand? A killer blow! The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing.
How
actually
on the
admitting-
nose, ouchie.
He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps your Ouchie is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. Yeah, it's a mechanic that was taken like that. I believe this is actually a mechanic that was taken straight from Layton versus Ace Attorney, where like during these multi-witness testimonies, you could actually you could press on someone else in the middle of it if they react. So we're probably gonna be told that. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think we're going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I doubt I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected. She's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma. What, Ryunosuke? There is one thing I noticed. Something's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her. Inspector Hasanaka. The detective? Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant, if it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on the last statement one more time, if you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then. I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose. Once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again. Righto, let's do it.
Yes!
Okay, let's skip through a little bit. It'll probably stop me right before that. Yep, there we go. There we go.
Let's see here.
Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the English woman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity.
What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right. Look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man and his train of thought. Sorry, pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Inosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, but who's the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right with you can turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with A. If you can catch that person in the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere among the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then, so I should first move the marker across with and focus on the detective, and pursue him with A, and see what's on his mind. Here we go. Means even an investigation team takes every direction, vital evidence may be lost.
Wait.
Okay. And...
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Yep! I think that's a lot better than just hang on. Like that is that Leighton, his attorney, had where, but because excuse me just sounds more intrusive, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts deeply. It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say. If there's something you'd like to say, please share it with the court.
Objection!
What is the meaning of this? It's a delightful Englishwoman who's still testifying at the moment. If you can't find what fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately.
Oh, is that how it works? How convenient. Absolutely not. The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact he's intimately involved with this in the case. Inspector Hasanaga, yes, do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes, if you don't mind. I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain, which is why I, Satoru Hosanaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched the nerve there. Take this for example. Is that? It's the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz. Had been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone else says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day, our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming, I guarantee it! I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. Alright. Miss Brett, can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death? Yes, it was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well, counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Ahem. Okay. Fortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burned his wrist like that.
to be.
Well, I have to
done.
actually. I should examine this.
Yeah.
The label is written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. It's supposed to be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking. Then go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. I can't find anything out of place.
Looks like there might be something on the back.
There's water there. So this carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. It looks like there's a little left in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much, I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No! Ryunosuke! You can't do that! For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh, no, you're right. We don't know what that might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke. In more ways than what? Well, if it's poison, then that may at least he dies convicting her. So that, yay?
Yeah.
I wonder, could there be anything in this water? Well, what's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. Okay, I think that might be, like, that just might be the cue.
Yeah. I don't know if
Well, I'm gonna try
I
it.
don't know if that matters anything to it.
Wrong button.
Yes!
Ah, yep, there we go. What's this?
There we
The
go,
bottle
yeah.
of water? Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Once again, turn of the century. So, like, nowadays, there'd probably be a trace because of science. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Oh. Like, after Ryunosuke talked to him, like, he died from the poison, and then his hand would, like, fall onto, onto the plate, or his wrist would fall onto the plate, like she pushed it or something like that. I don't know. Like, order. And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could possibly have done it. Josiah Brett. It was you!
Objection!
This is outrageous to suggest a thing without a scrap of evidence! You rookie imbecile! Have you ever considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you forgotten the biggest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime.
What?
The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth.
If I may, I will silence you forever for this disgraceful action. It's you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady!
Where did that come from?
She just snapped. I'm afraid I have spoken unfairly before. I have most humble apologies.
I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring?
I described your police force as inferior, but no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. This bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not.
Of course. You didn't. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. So did he take a sip of the water?
Oh, that's why he's coughing blood.
Maybe. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And what did you find, Inspector? I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at present time. Well, what about if we could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency? What? Are you sure?
Available within the country, so maybe
Yeah,
foreign people.
she's British. She might have brought... But, I mean, The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. No. Ah! Well, that only leaves that she might have a small contain, like that bottle around her neck. Like there's a necklace that she has that looks like a little bottle. I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You successfully established my complete innocence on this horrid affair. Thank you.
But of course, Julie, the pleasure's all ours.
I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if she was poisoned. Thank you, counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience that has caused you. This has caused you, Miss Brett.
Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved.
Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present to the court at this point? Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more.
Well, if you excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
Objection?
Hold it!
Huh? Oh, hey! Hello. Please, wait. Huh? Isn't that... What is the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikova, judicial assistant to the defense. Mikotoba. In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning, and in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. Wait, is this...
Think
Seriously?
that's, another break.
I
I can't believe it.
That was only an hour and a half. Now the question is, do I dare? Do I dare? It's been an hour and a half so far.
I'd guess that it's probably another hour and a half, more or less.
Yeah,
maybe.
that's my guess.
Yeah. So if you want to go for 3 hours, that's up to you.
Yeah. Well, and you're free to leave whenever you want. So that's.
Yeah, I have to go eat dinner soon, so I might hop out here and then just watch on my phone as I eat.
All right. Cool. Anyway.
All right, I'll probably post things in chat, but by then it'll probably be useless.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me.
Of course. See ya.
Later. All right. Let's get back to it. I might as well keep the live feed up just in case. All right. 22nd November. Let's go. I really want to get this. How much? Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why this sudden ingress to my court?
A judicial assistant, and a woman no less. Wow! 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 The rule states that females are not permitted into this court of law other than to testify.
Yes, I fully understand. I only ask for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence, and I must hand over to the defense.
You're too late, little girl. This trial has already been concluded.
5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more.
But, Your Excellency,
I am most grateful. Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, there's no time. Please, simply accept this for now. What is this? Report of something written in English? It's Giselle Brett's research. Oh, the English woman's... After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical faculty and borrowed this paper. Yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself. Oh, no, of course not. Special characteristics of Curare and its effects on human subjects. Poison! Curare? What's that? I've never heard that word before.
Time's up! The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom.
There's too little time for me to read it in detail, but I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it. This is wonderful, thank you. Giselle Report.
Alright.
Goodbye then, and good luck. You've had long enough, Counsel. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. I ask the prosecution and the defense now, one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but...
The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency.
Ryunosuke, we're out of options here. Nah, this really is our very last chance. Yes, I know. Your Excellency, defense does have new evidence. That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett? Yes, Your Excellency? If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with make your presence a little longer. A delightful invitation, but I'm afraid... It's so not very long. Like, Okay. Sorry about that. Forget. Like it seems I wasn't clear. I realized it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat it as an order. I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense. My apologies, dear lady. So, counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention? A poison made from the bark of certain trees in the jungle of South America. Hunters of the region have used it since ancient times to incapacitate their prey. Instant paralysis of the entire body and subsequent death even in minute doses. The above-mentioned effects of the poison enters through a wound such as been inflicted by a blowpipe dart. Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed that the toxin could have applications as an anesthetic, where a solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of full-body paralysis must be found first, or the patient will die of suffocation. We got something.
Yes!
Mr. Giselle Brett, we understand you are studying under Dr. Wilson at UMA University, doing research. Research, by sheer coincidence perhaps, into a deadly poison.
What?
Poison? Where are you going with this, Counsel? A toxin known as Curare, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death.
Objection!
What? What complete and utter nonsense! Curare, you say? I've never even heard of it!
You wouldn't have done. What do you mean? I mean that you wouldn't have heard of Curare before for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist. Correct. Which means, no matter what tests the police can do for toxins, they never identify Curare. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison.
What?
Order! Counsel, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report authored by the visiting research student from England, pure air has long been used by the tribesmen of South America as a poison for, poison to lace their arrows. So it seems it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists.
To lace their arrows?
The report states that it's produced from an extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle, and it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by arrows laced with pure air suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Objection!
Trumpery! These aspersions are utterly trumpery! To start with, if the victim had been administered some of this so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming or writhing in pain, and the other diners would have surely noticed.
That's true. What do you say to that, Inspector? Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. Didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around.
What do you mean the other way around?
The very fact that this victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that cure was used.
Explain yourselves, counsel.
The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible! Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he collapsed on the floor, or with a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects could go largely unnoticed. But I don't follow Kazuma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe it causes the muscles to control respiration to fail. Respiration? In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move.
That's hideous!
To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly cure poison. Oh, frick. And you're suggesting that this bottle, console, actually contains this terrifying poison?
Objection!
This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison for which there is no means of testing. What a happy tale for the defense!
If I may.
All these facts, you think you're so clever, but you must be taught some manner.
Shut up!
Shut up! It is you who must be taught. Of course. Dear lady!
So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it? What? You steal another's honest hard work and then you announce the results as if you discovered them? I'm appalled! What a loathsome act! Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual. What do you mean? Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime. That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Objection!
Enough of this! I, for one, refuse to accept it! The very idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules!
That's so funny. Oh, excuse me, Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett. May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please? Well, yes, I don't see. Why not? Is she gonna break it or is she gonna drink it? Oh, she's gonna drink it. Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys. Sorry. To an English woman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games and these foolish courtroom antics. It's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Cheers! Wait, what are you doing? No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair. Frick. Goodness, whatever's the matter? You all look quite stunned. So, no cure. The bottle was clean. Is that what you're saying? You look quite incredulous, little boy, but of course, that's the simple truth. Thanks for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in the grand venue. Most kind. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett? I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries. Yes, dear lady, we are most gratified with all of the assistance you have given. Is that a bottle? It doesn't make sense. There had to be poison in that bottle. So how did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? I don't understand it. Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London. There has to be a poison in that bottle. That doesn't there? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have killed her or dead. Come on, Ryunosuke. We have all the clues now. That bottle of water. As I thought, there is no poison in that bottle. What? Why, Ryunosuke? Is it obvious? If there was poison in there, she'd be dead by now. Sometimes your unadulterated naivete really astounds me. But sometimes it needs a good staining. Until it's as dark as your uniform in the ways of the world. Oh, is that what the color is supposed to represent? It has a gallows ending to a promising line of inquiry, counsel, for which you will be The culprit did put Curair poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position. You're serious?
Objection!
Fool, are you blind? There's no way that bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw
Miss Brett drinking the water from it?
That's right, which rather complicates your argument, I think. And I believe that complication can be explained. How exactly? I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the court record somewhere. It has to be. Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume the supposedly Well, first let's take a look at this. Oh! It wasn't through drinking.
Yes!
It had to be through a wound. The answer to this riddle is right there in Miss Brett's own research report.
Objection!
That's not a valid explanation. No. After all, we don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. The impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency. I'm not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. I'm just reading Sasada-san's notes. I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. You direct us to the pertinent section, counsel. Which section of the report? Let me just special characteristics.
It has to be the special characteristics. We've been hearing a lot about this Cure poison. And it's left me curious about something. Oh, Council? Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years to lace their the heads of arrows that they shoot at what prey they're hunting. So we've been led to believe, yes. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat.
Get to the point, please!
But if they were to use the laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. Good gracious, Council. No, that would be madness. But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see, that makes sense. Yes, the mention of that particular detail seems a little strange to me, though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When the cure enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poison effects whatsoever.
What?
Miss Brett, you authored this research. You knew the Cure's special characteristics, and you knew that you could make a spectacle of the drinking of the water without killing yourself. You meddling little...
Oh, that's a rapscallion! That's thing alive?
Well, Ryunosuke, it turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be. Really? Me? A lawyer?
Objection!
Oh, at this point, the talk is fascinating, I'm sure. But I fear to see how it possibly...
So, the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with, some Bexy read in a book. But I'm afraid the knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly.
What are you trying to say? Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw. Schoolboyish? Flaw? As even your brain has managed to deduce, Curare is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric succus. Oh, yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers? What are they? So if this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, wouldn't he? That's right. Good gracious. That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no? But that's why the burn. Order of the court order. The logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way. Are you trying to suggest...
Yes, this curator poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial.
That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that. There's one little thing, though. What is this? Welling up inside me. I've never felt like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey.
Objection!
Yes! 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 I don't think so, Miss Giselle Brett. How dare you use that tone with me? You know very well that there is no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both of you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Yes! Yes! Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you, but you must provide compelling evidence that we now know that this poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the Curer? All because of the burn! I think this has to be it.
Take that!
What? I'm sorry, Counsel, but this slipshod manner in which you taught that evidence before does inspire confidence. Huh? Listen, Ryunosuke. In order to overthink this, We know that Kira's toxic effects only come into play when a poison enters the body via a wound. Right, so that can only mean that when Dr. Wilson drank his glass of water, he must have had a wound somewhere that led the poison in. The dentist! The dental work! I didn't even get a penalty for that. It's the medical report card. I forgot. I completely I thought the burn, but no. As Miss Brent was so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners. Fatal difference? The toxic effects of Curare are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water? Inside? Yes, like the wound you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. You used that knowledge to orchestrate this. Is she laughing? I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. These childlike courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are so puerile. What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy, you'll find that soon enough. Huh? Huh? You'll see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No! I mean, it could just slip. Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed. No! Frick! The other woman, she's just smashed the bottle! And in the Supreme Court, what a terrible blunder! Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect as much water for that broken bottle as possible, at once! You aren't wasting your time. The delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you, it will suck up the water beautifully. You have neither technology nor the presence of mind to recover it. How could you? You won't get away with this! You can thump the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy, but I'm afraid we'll never know, now will we, if there really was poison in the bottle or not. You. And let's not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution? Oh, of course, of course! You're referring to the photographic print, I presume, dear lady? That's right. Right, and really looking at this photograph, it's clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. So, of course, the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
Objection!
No! No! No, you killed the victim that day, using Curare! And then, in order to frame Ryunosuke Naruhodo for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun! Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor and his chair around. You see? You had every opportunity to commit this crime! What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say? And I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence. Exactly! And you have nothing to support your wild claims. The prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest! Delivered in cold blood by the accused, Ryunosuke Naruhodo! It's unbelievable. How could this happen? We had her, but now... Is she really gonna get away with it? The way she destroyed the evidence was obscene! Ryunosuke, yes, we've come this far, but now you're the only one who could finish it. What? What do you mean? We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. So if there are any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head. In my head. You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend on. Well, yes, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head. So think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell. What I saw, what I felt, every color. There was blood! Am I right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of the same scene in my head, could there have been another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? There's a clue. Actually, Cosma, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue. You always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Ryunosuke? Come on then, let's wipe that smug smile off the English woman's face with some evidence. Alright, I can't wait. It's been niggling me for a while that something feels amiss in my memories of that day. Whatever it could be, whatever it is could be the key to arriving at the truth all about this. It's here somewhere. The clue that shows Dr. Wilson's killer must have...
Take that!
Yes! Inspector Hasanaga, answer me this! Yes? What is it? Is he still miles away? Probably thinking about that bottle being smashed. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of steak that you took to the victim's table that day.
Objection!
Please tell me you took the plate. Wait a minute. Where are you going with this? Where are you going with this, little boy? It's just a memory that's been troubling me. What memory? I saw the scene that shown in this photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw that on the wooden base of the plate, there was steak that was served on it. Was a splattering of blood. What? Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph, and the relative position of everything there. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Reznov in the chest from that front, there's no way that blood for the victim could have ended up directly behind him. Ah! Yes. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter. Which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor, as you were. Giselle Brett. I beg your pardon!
Objection!
This is beyond ridiculous! Fabricated nonsense! Is the court seriously expected to believe that the accused has apparently just remembered seeing...
Hold it!
Yes! Oh yeah. This could be the moment my entire career in the police force has been leading to. Inspector, what do you mean? Yes, I took the plate in the interest of preserving evidence for the scene of the crime. I took it, meat and all, and I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it! You did what? I took the steak that you've been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak and the sergeant was eating. And I did it all in the name of justice. Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a blood stain on Miss Brett's plate. We must examine it now! Please tell me he didn't clean it. Inspector, the court wishes to examine the plate for the victim's table immediately. Yes, sir! Sorry for the delay. This is what you ordered. The steak. Well, what about blood? Is there blood on it? Of course there isn't! Quickly, Inspector. The blood man! The blood man! Show the court! Of course, examine the plate at your leisure. There's no blood stain. No blood. No blood anywhere. But no, that's impossible! It looks like it's... I know I saw it, I'm sure of it! It was right there on the table behind the professor. There was blood on the side of the plate. What an unbecoming expression, little boy. You see, this is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you. I couldn't agree more. In the case of this disgrace to the Empire. I believe we may finally have reached a conclusion in this trial. Let's hope so. Let's pretend attend that courtroom proceedings is painful to watch. But I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over. Not again! This story-looking stick reveals the fact all too clearly. If the sorry-looking accuser wishes to examine it again, be my guest! Come on, let's look at it. Come on, let's look at it. It's emblem on the side of the plate. Is it a cat? It's a cow, obviously. Because the restaurant's signature dish is beef steak. It seems a lot of different restaurants have their own unique tableware. So this is the symbol of La Carnival, is it? No! What? Huh? What in the world is this? I think it's a Koben coin, and the hallmark is from the Hoei era, I believe. No, I don't mean what it is. I mean, what's it doing there? Wait a minute, this is a sergeant's... Wait, did you say it was a Hoei Koban? Yes, and apart from the meat juices, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. This is the first time that we talk about Hoei Koban. I heard of pearls before swine, but I've never heard of bullion and yeah. I don't think you will ever again. It's extraordinary, though. This means this is the sergeant's meal. Now, I've lost Inosuke. It's not over yet. Not until the final gavel. Huh? Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward, no matter what. Believe myself, really? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. As the evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way, I presume any further examination of evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. Does the defense have any objection? That bloodstain was going to clinch the trial for me. Can this plate of steak reveal any other clues at all? There is another clue. Your Excellency, please wait. This plate of beef is hiding another clue. Another clue that will reveal the shocking truth.
Objection!
The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beef steak! Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination in this trial. I'm sorry, Miss Brett, but we must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. I will not give a ruling until completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled. I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, that's still your position, is it? Thank you, Your Excellency. Counsel for the defense, you will now clearly show the court to what you're alluding. More precisely is the plate. Right there. Doing there? Wait, did you say it was a Hoei Koban? Yes, and apart from the meat juices, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. Heard of bullion and bullion, and I don't think you ever will again. I certainly never expected to find a precious coin on Lisa's thick cut of meat. And for the Hoei era too, that would make it really quite valuable. Well, it's well marinated in juices as well. Look, what, are you thinking of eating it? No, but next time I order steak at an expensive restaurant, one thing for sure, my heart's going to be racing as we lift the meat and pure underneath for a prize. I think you might have the wrong end of the stick about this one, this game. A Kobe coin underneath the steak.
Got it. Good gracious! That's
Koban?
what's that? Earth? Hoei arrow one at that. Miss Brett, this is in fact the beefsteak that you ordered at the restaurant on the day in question, isn't it? Is it? Tell me, why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat?
Shut up!
Useless question. How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what it is, but I know no part of it.
Objection!
I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin underneath the meat. That could simply have been a careless mistake by the chef in a moment of distraction.
Objection!
Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe that this happened by accident in the kitchen? A rare Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak? If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll rip up my ticket to Grand Britain right now. He's right. It can't be a coincidence. Your Excellency. Yes, Counsel? A rare Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll give up my lawyer job right now!
Objection!
By all means, don't let it stop you. No one fired you anyway.
Shut up!
Perhaps, little boy, you should realize it is you who is irrelevant. Even though
I'm the one on trial here.
the point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what it's doing under that steak. The owner? Yes, it's obvious. There's only one person it can belong to. The owner of the Koban that was found underneath the steak was Kurikuta.
Take that!
Take that. Obviously, it can only be the antique dealer and the owner of Rasute, Curio Korikuta-san. Is it Mr. Cucumber something? Mr. Cucumber something? Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable. Yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant, correct? Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying that he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened, and at exactly the moment the gun was fired. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing?
Hunting for treasure. Indeed, the Hoei era Koban, my prize coin.
Oh, Zoldan's back. Oh. I'll just bring it back in. Move to... Otto.
Hi, I finished eating dinner.
Cool. We just found some more evidence. We found out that the bottle was indeed poisoned, and that we're pretty sure it's poisoned, and that she used Wilson's dentist appointment as a way of getting the poison into his mouth, because it can only kill people who have a wound, like through a wound. So she was able to drink it with no problem. But she destroyed the bottle. So now we have. So now we're pretty sure that there's blood on a steak plate, but the plate has no blood on it. But we found a Koban, a Hoei era coin in underneath her steak, and found out and we know who owns it, the person who lost it. So, yeah.
No, please, why would Korikuta-san's Koban be sandwiched between the victim's beef and its plate? It makes no sense.
Yes!
Which is why I'm asking to bring Korikuta-san back to the witness stand so we can ask him. Oh, I just realized it didn't. There we go. Officer,
Thing.
bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here, without a moment's delay. I can't believe we come back around to that pair again, but I have a strong hunch, that if we chase down the real significance of this Koban, we'll find it's a key element in this case. So now we have all 4 witnesses on the stand. What's this about? Why have I been caught up again? Don't you realize it's dinner time for the little baby Ido? When my son's belly is empty, he is fiercer than a pack of wolves.
Exploited by the police we were, like miserable dogs, forced to bear false witness. And when cast from the courtroom myself, I became a ruined man in a trice, a worthless withered antique. Nothing more I have to say. The sun has set on this Rasute shop's owner's existence.
Be that as it may, Korakuto-san, something has come up to light that requires your clarification. As far as your Rasute memory serves, have you ever seen this? Ah! Oh my gosh! No! That's the one! That's the very exact one! That's it! It just stabbed the guy's butt!
I love the Ace Attorney series.
Right, like responding for his Hoei treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day! It can't be! As I thought.
Young man, enlighten the decrepit old fool. Put me out of my misery. Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped?
Oh, I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched between a beefsteak and its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat's juices.
Sandwiched? Soaking? Seriously?
Clearly, it couldn't have fallen there by accident, which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose.
Somebody concealed my Hoei treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate. Who would dare to do such a thing? Such an unconscionable thing!
Excuse me. Could I say something? Yes, of course. Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga. I mentioned this earlier on in the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case. Yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation. La Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts in targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being affected. So that's why you were sent in undercover, is it? Yes, I took the job of waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminal. It seems likely that this Koban incident is the work of the same thief. So unbeknownst to us, there was a master thief at work in the restaurant on a regular basis. The place was already at the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid Korakuto-san's Koban is all too clear.
What? What?
I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Tell us, who is the despicable scoundrel who stole Korakuto-san's Koban and hid it under the stake? There was, other than, Brett, there was one other person who had stake. And it was, Yasunosa.
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be you. Sergeant Yasunosa. What? Ha! How dare you! You monster! Monster? I stole that Koban, did I? I'm the master thief of La Carnival, am I? You're seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet? But it wasn't me, it was Ido! Ido's the mastermind behind all this! Seriously? That's his problem with it? That's his problem with this?
That?
You would push the blame for your crimes onto your own son, an innocent little baby? It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Nosa! Clippity cop, clippity cop, clippity cop, clippity cop, clippity cop, clippity cop! Ow! I heard that. Ugh. Aww. Nippon Imperial Army, Sergeant Yasanosa, preferring stand down in the Supreme Court, sir. Okay, but that begs the question, where about the other stake then? Do any of you know of the extraordinary low wages of the Ippon Imperial Army pays those that expect to keep our country safe? I understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently ended conflicts remaining in place, and I heard it's hard for lower-ranking soldiers to make a living, yes. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son! That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant? The place is heaving with money. Hey, even every 3 days I'd go there and do reconnaissance for a target. And I'd enjoy chopping my way through a good steak at the same time. It sounds like he doesn't bother with a knife and fork even, which is worrying believable. And your target that day was the old man and his koban. Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pockets without any trouble at all. A veritable phantom thief you are. I was all set to leave the steak. I was halfway through devouring when it happened. Yes, when the professor was shot. I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. I know too. So I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could. On a double. I slipped it under the steak, hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date. Uh-huh.
But why put it under that steak? He said he was half done, so why not put it under his own? I'm probably looking too far into this.
Right. Well, this is ridiculous. Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling in your own time? Well, Miss Brett. Of course, dear lady, of course! How rude of us! I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. May the esteemed gentleman please be excused, your excellency! Indeed. This Koban was clearly perpetrated by this baby saddle sergeant. It would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder. Of course it is. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. Nonsense, is it? Well... As for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Very well. Now that all questions concerning this witness's testimony have been answered, I see no further justification for detaining her. Miss Brett, you are free to leave. Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone. And good day. Yunosuke, what's the matter with you? There's no time for daydreaming. Oh, no, it's just something about Miss Brett's parting words there got me thinking. I can't quite work out what exactly, but something she said jarred with me. I feel like there's a contradiction in there somewhere. Something doesn't quite, bleh. If that's the case, don't just stand there thinking. Make your voice heard! Sorry? You can think later, but if you don't call it out now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over. Objection!
Hold it!
Wait, Miss Brett! What is it now? I'm afraid, just one last time, there's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting words just from a few moments ago. What are you talking about? What contradiction?
Objection!
What new student nonsense is this? Well, what parting words are you talking about, Ryunosuke? Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Yes, I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction. I'm going to need see some evidence, Counsel. If Miss Brett's words truly are contradictory, where's the evidence to prove it? Oh, there's a fork. There's a knife and fork. has a...
Wait a second. The only thing I can think of is the burn mark on Wilson's hand could possibly be from his arm resting on the plate.
But
But that's
that's
because,
that-
like, as if he were eating it with his bare hands, but there's a fork and knife in the picture, so that doesn't make much sense.
I have an idea. Wait, frick! That's not the one I was trying to pause the game. This is the evidence right here. Well, Miss Brett,
This attempt to incriminate me is as brutish as the sergeant's eating habits.
yes, I'm inclined to agree. Ah! Well, frick.
This is only one error.
Mm-hmm. I'll do my best. I need to think again. Well, okay. Under a lump of meat. I mean, like, it's like she's denying it almost.
As if it were her idea.
Yeah. It just seems...
There's obviously something wrong.
Okay, I'm gonna save real quick. There, like, I'm gonna try presenting the meat.
Take that!
Aha! The steak that Miss Brett had been eating before the professor was killed. Yes, go on. More accurately, Your Excellency, the steak
There would
that
be
was,
an imprint.
that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed. Now you're splitting hairs. Not true. Doesn't... Wait, what if the sergeant switched plates?
That's yeah.
Not true.
Because
Doesn't...
I mentioned it offhandedly, like, oh, why is it under that plate and not his own? But if they were switched
might-
plates,
Because
yeah.
like, if it was a crime scene plate, it wouldn't have been like thrown away. So
Yeah.
maybe he was thinking, oh, if it's a crime scene plate, maybe they won't look under it and they won't disturb it, right? Still a flawed plan, but still unnatural. What on earth do you mean? It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett. Noticed what exactly, Counsel? Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishman could even contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork. But she used a spoon! Of course she did.
Not
Yeah,
just
she's a
a spoon, a fork.
She's a fine Englishwoman, gentlewoman herself. Then take a good look at the steak. It's in particular the edges where it's been. They're
I was
bite
right!
marks. They're bite marks.
I was right.
They're, as you see, there are
I was
clearly defined
actually
barbaric teeth marks there.
Oh, I was actually right with that. Holy cow. Okay.
It looks like Miss Brett has realized something. She realized she opened her mouth, but the realization came too late. So if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife and fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all.
Objection!
But what is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravishingly hungry and couldn't have been...
Shut up!
She's sweating.
Oh, whatever you say, dear lady. As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer. Of course. This will be all for the blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place. Just leave everything to...
Shut up!
I've heard enough already. You irritating little spectacled samurai relic. Of course. Dear lady!
What's the matter, Miss Brett? Have we ruffled your feathers? Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She realizes the catastrophic implications these teeth marks in the steak have for her. Ryunosuke, do you know where you're going with this? Yes, now at last, it's all come together. The mysterious teeth marks in a steak that had allegedly been eaten with cutlery. The reason why the blood stain I saw somehow seems to have disappeared. And most importantly, the evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day. I accept that these teeth marks in the steak are a little unnatural, as you put it, Counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that tells us? Everything, Your Excellency.
Everything?
Yes, I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson.
Shut up!
Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard you say that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase typical Japanese empty threats.
How can you be so sure?
Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court long ago.
Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet.
Hasn't been... What?
But just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean the evidence does not exist.
Objection!
It's absurd. The trial's run several hours already. How do you say there's evidence yet to be brought forward? There can't be. I don't believe you have it.
Objection!
I don't, but there is someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve every remaining mystery about this case.
There's the point.
Yep. Very well. I have a feeling this will be my last request of the defense in this trial. Who possesses conclusive evidence that will... I have two ideas. One, I'm thinking it's him because he switched the plates. Counsel, I'm disappointed, as this is likely your last chance. I would have expected you to be taking it more seriously. It seems you need some waking up. That's the penalty room. Okay. Then...
Okay, apparently not.
Then the detective. Who's running
Yeah,
up with
because he
Yeah,
would,
it's just... I thought...
preserve
yeah.
it.
Yeah, he keeps...
He's a crime
Yeah.
thief.
But, I mean, I thought that, like, perhaps, like, if he was... That's in the trial. You have to set your stage, Ryunosuke. Yeah, pretty much. I thought that if he might have still had it because he switched the plates, but yeah, it has to be Satoru Hosonaga.
Take that!
The answer is obvious. It's Inspector Hosonaga. What? I have it?
Yes. You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence?
That's ridiculous.
No, I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention has been focused on the steak with the teeth marks. Yes. Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told the court the following. I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak. And as well as admitting to stealing Korakuta-san's coin, he told us that he slipped it under the steak.
Watch it, cadet. I'm a superior officer.
Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the steak that you put the coin under, in fact, your own steak?
Attention! Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier of the Imperial Nippon Army, but still. I am not brave enough to ask a foreign gentle lady if she'd mind me manhandling her meal to hide something in it.
What a sentence. In other words,
That
the
is
steak...
that is a sentence indeed.
I need to save that. I'm adding that as a quote.
that is a glorious quote.
I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentle lady if she'd mind me handling her meal, not meat, to hide some. And there we go. Okay. Was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal.
Objection!
But that makes no sense. That plate was taken from the victim's table.
Objection!
Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor did she have any opportunity to steal the coin.
Of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire. I mean... Well then, how do you explain this paradox? Exactly. Surely you're not going to suggest that the sergeant switched the two stakes over? I mean... Thanks for bringing it up. Great deduction! How did you know? You did switch plates? You did switch the plates? Well, after it happened, when I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my stake and hid the coin underneath it. But then when the waiter announced he was undercover policeman, I thought I had it. If he decided to investigate my slab of meat, that'd be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. So when the cadet here was arrested and taken off to this kitchen, I seized my chance. With military precision and timing, I switched my stake with one of the foreign ladies' table. What? You can't have... I never saw you do such a thing! It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. It was do or die, I tell you. So yes, I did what I had to be done. Unbelievable! However, fear not, Prosecutor San. Now, I swear on the breast buttons of my uniform, that is all I did, sir. Oh, you did? That's plenty, Sergeant!
Yes!
So, if Sergeant knows to switch the plates over, it means he took Miss Brett's steak, and the plate it was on, back to his own table. Yes, that follows. Inspector Kastanaga. Yes? Earlier in this trial, you told the court this. You said that you had not only taken Miss Brett's steak after the incident, but also the sergeant's. Yes? Yes? That to preserve evidence, you had taken both. Yes, yes. That's correct. Then please present it to the court now. The plate that was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment he was shot. Yes, the pursuit theme! Woo! You did it!
Shut up!
What can that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat? It can't have the slightest bearing on the case!
Objection!
Oh, you'd be surprised. No, you're not wriggling your way out of this time, lady. I have goosebumps right now. Like, I don't know if it's the music or the moment. Probably both.
Probably both together.
Yeah, like I've been waiting years to play this game. Like, I beg your pardon. Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why the steak pan promises to remove such a problem for you, no? You're the one who decided it was a problem, not me. No, the reason the defense asked to see the plate was to confirm something the defendant remembers seeing. Thinks he remembers? I'm quite sure of what I saw, Miss Brett. On the side of the plate that was on the table directly behind Dr. Wilson, there was a clear spattering of blood from the gunshot wound to the victim's chest. I believe the defendant's memory serves him well. And now we have the evidence to prove it. The plate you were eating from, Miss Brett. Let us not prolong this any further, Inspector. You will show the evidence to the court. Present the beefsteak and plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident. And please don't tell me that you wiped it clean. Yes, sir! Sorry for keeping you. Here's the other steak and its plate. Please, feel free to examine it. Oh,
There's
yeah.
the blood.
Oh!
And a very neatly cut.
Mm-hmm. The blood stain is clearly visible. Look!
Yes!
Yes! Now this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the plate shows that at the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table with his back to me. In other words, it's impossible for Naruhodo-san to have shot the victim. It can't be! In fact, there's only one person who could have possibly shot Dr. Wilson from the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. I don't think there's any way she could deny it now. Miss Giselle Brett. It's you!
Now for the witness breakdown.
outdone by a Japanese, and me, by a Japanese schoolboy. No, no, no!
What?
Yeah, that thing was alive the whole time.
The chicks were alive too. Take a breath, man.
Oh, there she goes. Bye bye.
I love this game.
That was so cute. Oh, those chicks are so adorable.
All the
Oh, please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure.
briefly.
Most unbecoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me. Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth. This time. Gladly, Your Excellency. It was I who took the professor's life using cure error. As you surmise, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The professor had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning. So you planned to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water, because cure error is unheard of here in Japan. Yes. Of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor take one tiny sip of his water, and it would be all over. I would place the steak and order in front of him to make it look like though he'd been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, the defendant. Before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table. That would be me, I suppose. Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter, but the fact you decided to come over to greet the professor meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There's no going back at that point, so I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment. A plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man. I happened to know that the professor always carried a gun. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had a bottle of Purell in my handbag, and my own pistol concealed under my skirt. I think I called that.
Yeah.
Under your skirt? So I was right. There were two guns! Yes. And then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That was when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor. A place where you were sure I would notice it. And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun, as I intended. And then, just as you bent down to pick it up, that's when you shot the professor with your own gun. Even at that point, he was already dead. Naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared. Obviously, I assumed Naruhodo-san was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry, to adjourn the kitchen, and locked him inside. That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor in his chair around. Because, of course, you needed to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he picked up the gun. So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Sure, misdemeanor. Only a misdemeanor. Whatever. Your Excellency? Yes? I wonder... Might I speak with you in private later? I shall call on you. Thank you. Good day then, everyone. I hope you can forgive me, Naruhodo-san. Oh boy.
What? Oh wait.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
being taken away.
Yeah, I was like, for a brief moment, it was just the sudden disappearance, and I was like,
Let's see.
wait, what? Never here? What?
This trial has finally run its course. I presume the prosecution is in agreement. Yeah, everyone was just being like was just drunk the whole time. Yeah, this can't be. Takatsuchi Aoshi does not lose. Not the likes of this rookie student. You better start getting used to the tough opposition. Ryanosuke Naruhodo! Yes. This insult to the Aoshi family name will never be forgotten. You become conceited with age, Council, but old have to stand aside to make way for the new. It's the way of this world. May you never forget that. Oh boy. Just the power of, like, 1,000 millennia may pass, and still the Aoshi clan will never measure up to the Naruhodo clan.
Well, there we go.
That's the start of the curse, I guess. This trial in the Supreme Court of Japan will, I believe, go down in history as the start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system. Despite being summoned as the accused, you, Ryanosuke Naruhodo, presented an excellent case. Thank you, Your Excellency. The use of evidence deduction to unravel the truth is a modern methodology. After all, it has only been a few short decades since our country opened its door to the wider world. The Western ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that science will soon bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice. A new future of law awaits, but what will it look like, I cannot begin to imagine. That is for the young to pursue. Kazuma Osugi. Yes? After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all you can, absorb everything of the wider world that you are able to, and do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you. I understand, Your Excellency. What was that about? Why did you look so grave all of a sudden? Never mind. As for you, Ryanosuke Naruhodo? Oh, yes? In you, I sense, how can I put it, unusual potential. I very much look forward to seeing how you carry out that onwards. Thank you, Your Excellency. So, it is time to deliver the final verdict. I hereby find the defendant, Ryanosuke Naruhodo. Yeah!
Guilty.
Wow! Ah, cherry blossoms.
Aww,
Yeah.
that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, very, very nice. The court is now adjourned. Whew. What a journey that was.
Yeah, that was a long first case.
Yeah, this was like three separate parts for this.
Yeah.
Like a Supreme Court judicature, whatever. That's a lot of words. I can't believe it. I can't believe what happened. I made it! I defended myself and made it through that horrendous trial! Ryanosuke, you finally pulled it
It's
off.
only gonna get worse from here.
Congratulations. Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Kazuma. No, it was a pleasure to watch you at work. So, you owe me an extra large sukiyaki from the place on Yume University Street. Don't forget. Good afternoon. All your hard work has certainly paid off. Ah, congratulations to both of you for proving Naruhodo-san's innocence. Ah, our trusty judicial assistant. You've worked hard for that result too, you know. Oh, no, I didn't do anything. Thank you so much! If we hadn't had the research report of Miss Brett, I don't know how things would have turned out. Your kind words should really be for my father. I was simply doing as he asked. It was his idea for me to go to university and investigate. Your father? Yes, of course. Forgive me for the intrusion on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Sasota Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Speaking of Mikotoba... Ah, there you are. I believe congratulations are in order. Naruhodo, you did an excellent job. Thank you, Professor.
Oh no, it is I who should be thanking you. After all, your efforts exposed the true criminal that took the life of my good friend. Good friend. Oh yes, you mentioned that before. It was you who actually invited Dr. Wilson to Yume University, wasn't it? Yes, that's right. Professor Nikitova studied overseas himself. He went to study forensic medicine in Great Britain. Presumably, that's when you met Dr. Wilson. Exactly. In those days, we worked together in the same hospital. Oh, you worked together. I've never heard of you mention that before. Well, it was a long time ago now. Besides, it's your turn, Asuki. Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world. In science, medicine, engineering, culture, and of course, in law. Watch and learn, my boy. See what's happening in the world's largest melting pot. I will. I'll learn all I can. I swear on this, the spirit of the Yasuki clan. You're not taking that sword to Great Britain, are you? Of course I am! A Japanese man's katana is his soul. This blade shows me where I need to go. And cuts down anything that's in my way. And has an enchantment of wind in it, apparently. Yes, I've definitely seen how sharp it was already with my own eyes.
Of course, that's why the wind is always blowing.
That reminds me, to Giselle, but I mean, after all, she's guilty of murder. But yeah, what happened to that woman? She's guilty of murder. Yes, her. It's not easy to tell you this, but what do you mean? She's going to face the trial herself now. She's a true culprit after all. She will be leaving Japan in the very near future for Shanghai. What? Shanghai? Giselle Brett will not appear in court again in this country. I'm certain of that. What? Why not? It's a matter of consular jurisdiction. Inspector Hosodaga. It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today. Very impressive to watch. I must congratulate. But what's all this about consular jurisdiction? We cannot try this particular foreigner for her crimes here in Japan. What? We can't try her? But then who's going to bring her to justice? A British consular court will hear her case, somewhere far away where our voices can't be heard. But why a consular court? Professor, I simply don't understand. I thought consular courts were a thing of the past now that we've signed the friendship treaty. Yes, in normal circumstances, you're right. Then, so long as this is not a serious incident of highly political nature for conflicting governments, they can't invoke a consular court just like that. Oh, can't they? Yes, she's a student, but it doesn't justify your government making secret agreements about her fate, does it? Something strange is going on. So Miss Brett can't be held accountable for her actions here in Japan, and I have to switch controllers. I mean, unless we want to hear that beeping every time, and I have to remove a USB device. Eject. There we go. Okay, now I can plug this in, and
There we go.
and then I can change the grip order. I'm afraid that for the young student, today's trial was nothing more than a game all along. There was never any danger of comeuppance for her. Don't believe it. Oh boy, the British government's Foreign Affairs Ministry has demanded that we hand over custody of Miss Brett. They're obviously taking this case to a foreign student committing murder very seriously. But it's all going to change from now on. We can't make it change. This is a time of great turmoil, this new era heralded by the start of the 20th century. One day, I have no doubt, that woman will receive the judgment she deserves. Yes, change is coming, and we're the ones driving it. Well, I think that's enough seriousness for now. This evening calls for a celebratory drink. The professor... You're right. This is no time for gloomy faces. We should be celebrating Ryunosuke's not guilty verdict. Let's start having some fun. In that case, much to suggest La Carnival, as the head waiter, I should be delighted to provide you with ample food and drink.
But you're not the waiter.
You're a detective, aren't you, Hosonaga-san, aren't you? Let's not worry about the details for now. Oh my gosh! To La Carnival! Will you accompany us, Professor? Of course, La Carnival food is second to none. I should go and attend the paperwork for Naruhodo-san's release. Oh, yes, thank you. So Giselle Brett won't be tried here. I suppose that means I'll never know. I'll never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson. Yeah, that is a kind of weird that we know it now. Kazuma. Yes, Ryunosuke? I just want to say thanks again, that's all. You really saved my skin today. I didn't do a thing. You were a lawyer in there, weren't you? That defense was all your own work. Your skills made the difference, though. One day, I bet you'll be the best lawyer in the world. I'm not so sure about that. Huh? To be honest, something kept occurring to me over and over again during that trial. I couldn't help thinking that maybe you're the one destined to become a great lawyer, not me. What? Come on, be serious! If I helped you today, it was only right at the very start of the trial. But you have a natural talent for it, for being a defense lawyer, I mean. Oh, no, not me. All that tense verbal combat? I never want to go through that ever again! I just did what you told me, that's all, because I knew I could trust you. That's the point. Sorry? What do you mean, that's the point? Listen, Ryunosuke. Do you know what the most crucial weapon is that any lawyer needs in order to win? Knowledge of the law? No. The ability to believe. To believe? To believe what? A defense lawyer has to fight for his clients. He has to believe in them at all times. Like you believed in me when I said I didn't do it. I'm human, just like you. I don't have some superhuman ability to know the truth. But you have to make a choice about what to believe in, and stick to it when you're defending someone. Sometimes in the courtroom, you can really be backed into a corner, but being able to remain faithful to what you chose to believe in even then, well, that's not something that anyone can do. It takes a special kind of person. Believing in your client. Just look at today's trial. I'm a student lawyer with a precious little real experience, but you never stop believing in me. Well, you face seemingly hopeless situations time and again, but you never stopped looking for the truth. And in the end, you found it, through your own efforts, and because you never stopped believing in me. Thanks, Kazuma. There's something I want to ask you, actually, Ryunosuke. Well, it's a favor, really. Something very important to me. It sounds serious. What is... Ah! You're still here, are you?
Oh, my spleen!
Thanks for the host, Wolf Boy.
Really should get that. Really should get that blood checked out.
Yeah, really. I have arranged some rickshaws for us. Let's go. Thank you. We'll be right there. Like, I'm sure, like, I mean... Yeah, blood. Let's pick up this conversation later. We should be celebrating right now. Your first court victory. And your study tour to Great Britain, don't forget. Yes. That too. So my very first trial came to an end. And that was the end of my court. Yeah. Roll credits! Kazuma. Professor Megatoba. Sasata-san, who acted as my assistant. And even Inspector Hosonaga, who didn't really play much of a part, but still. Wow! Rude! It was because of the help and support of all these people that I managed to get through that trial. But more importantly, Kazuma hadn't yet managed to ask his favor of me. Like, little did I realize just how much it would change my life. And that's the end of the first trial. the the adventure of the unspeakable band, unbreakable speckled band is episode 2, and that's a Sherlock Holmes book or case.
Huh.
It looks like it takes place on a boat. Well, why don't we get a little preview? Like just the first cutscene.
Me.
Like just get a look at the first cutscene.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
Oh boy. Steamship Burya. I think that's Russian.
So
Ooh,
then,
and
let
a
us
cutscene.
unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait.
Shh. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. I need cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Sherlock Holmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
Oh boy. Well, we're gonna have. Looks like we're gonna have an interesting case in the next one. Looks
Yeah.
like